Alien essentially gave birth to the space horror genre as we know it, and in the years since the 1979 classic, the franchise has grown exponentially across various forms of entertainment. The quality of the films are up for debate depending on who you ask, but there's less debate about the property's success in the gaming world. Alien Colonial Marines is perhaps the franchise's lowest point in video games, releasing to laughter and disappointment in 2013. The game's tumultuous development spanned 6 full years, and Gearbox outsourced a lot of the game to various other developers, leading to one of the most hilariously broken, disjointed major game releases of the 7th console generation. So it's easy to see why gamers were quickly skeptical of any future titles in the iconic series, clinging tightly to fond memories of a bygone era when Alien was merely a captivating sci-fi horror film franchise. After all, who wants their favorite franchises tainted by poorly made video games? We all remember E.T. on the Atari, though we wish we didn't. When gamers got word that developer Creative Assembly was working on a survival horror game in the Aliens universe, it sparked a significant amount of concern and hesitancy. Could someone actually come along and set things right? Could Alien finally make the leap to the modern video game world without putting any more blemishes on the franchise? Well, yes, it could. And it did. Creative Assembly chose to revisit the atmosphere and feel of the original film and steer clear of the action-focused tone by the James Cameron sequel, Aliens. Thanks to Fox's willingness to provide the developer with 3 terabytes worth of original production material, Creative Assembly was able to authentically recreate the tone of the original film with utter perfection. Behind-the-scenes photos, costume photography, and even the original sound recordings for the film were among the list of received assets. With all of this on hand, as well as spending some time consulting with people from the original production team, the developers were able to meticulously pick apart the entirety of the film and its individual components to find the aspects that made Alien so compelling. This authenticity was easily noticeable in the game's fundamental design structure. Old CRT monitors, archaic hacking devices, and everything about the game world was created with complete respect to the movie's time period. Artist John McKellen was even quoted saying, quote, "We had this rule. If a prop couldn't have been made in '79 with the things they had around, then we wouldn't make it either." Even the story was designed to complement the film, setting the game a mere 15 years later and casting players as movie main character Ellen Ripley's daughter Amanda gave both a sense of familiarity and freshness to the experience. Sigourney Weaver reprised her role throughout the game via some audio recordings, and plenty of other original actors were happy to lend their voices to the game's DLCs, including Veronica Cartwright, Tom Skerritt, Yaphet Kotto, and Harry Dean Stanton. This continued appreciation and building of the Alien universe allowed Isolation to feel like the true and rightful continuation it was, and everything came together beautifully. Critics and gamers alike were blown away by the game upon release. Despite a few minor grievances about unnecessary trial and error segments and occasional save point woes, everyone seemed to adore Isolation, with many going so far as to list it among the most atmospheric survival horror games ever made. Love for the game's excellent AI consistently topped the list of the most loved aspects, and as expected, most people were very impressed by its incredible sense of authenticity. The game begins with Amanda setting out to explore the game's dark and decrepit space station in search of clues of her mother's whereabouts. Isolation pummels home the iconic phrase, "In space, no one can hear you scream." It doesn't take long for things to go horribly wrong, as Amanda and those who tagged along with her are quickly introduced to the game's primary threat. You guessed it, an alien. With no weapons to protect herself, Amanda is tasked with discovering what has happened, all while narrowly escaping the lurking, hulking beast. Isolation builds tension over its 20 or so hours of stealthing in such a way that you're really never given a second to breathe. All of this was accomplished by doing away with the heavily scripted jump scares the genre is so notorious for, instead opting for calculated sense of dread that runs through every moment of the game. Isolation wants you to shiver in trepidation as it builds tension, leaving you to watch on Amanda's in-game radar for pings that indicate the alien is in your vicinity. When you see the dot show up, it evokes a sense of panic unlike any other game as you scramble to the closest hiding place to evade detection and an almost certain insta-death. Don't be fooled. Isolation isn't a game of second chances. It hammers you with this tension and panic and expects you to consistently and effectively think on your feet. The alien itself is an erratic beast hell-bent on killing you, so it wastes no time in doing so. Isolation doesn't offer a health bar, and if you're caught, you're dead. Its unpredictable patterns and tendency to even seemingly trick you into feeling safe is what makes it one of survival horror's most terrifying creatures. Some of the space station's other inhabitants pose a bit of a threat at times, but they can be dealt with by using guns and various tools at your disposal, something that simply doesn't work on the alien. But using those items will undoubtedly draw attention to you, and while you can lure it away using items like a noisemaker, you stand no chance going toe-to-toe with the beast. This leads to a lot of tense scenarios that put an emphasis on time management. Do you have time to take down the android and safely retreat to a hiding spot before the alien shows up? Well, you'd better hope so. While more and more games are embracing Isolation's style of gameplay that focuses on stealth over fighting, few have gotten the tone and details as perfectly as it did. Designed from the ground up to be unmistakably Alien, the game never missed a beat in proving it has what it takes to stand alongside the film franchise in the canon. So it seems almost unthinkable that Creative Assembly would stop here, doesn't it? However, publisher Sega was disappointed in the relatively low sales of Isolation, and after many of the game's team members have moved on to work for other developers, a sequel seems highly unlikely. Even so, a mobile spin-off called Alien Blackout released in early 2019, and the Isolation brand has been carried on through various other mediums, such as a comic sequel titled Alien Resistance and a web series called Alien Isolation, the digital series. With so many offshoots from the game's lore, it's not unthinkable that we may someday see a game-based sequel to this revolutionary horror adventure. But whether any of the original game's developers will return is as unknown as the future of the franchise. In the meantime, there are a bevy of other Alien-based films, comics, and more to keep us entertained, though none quite as pulse-pounding as hiding in a locker, watching that radar ping with sweaty palms. And that wraps it up. If you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing to our channel. We upload new videos daily. Also, don't forget to switch on the bell notification icon, that way you don't miss out on any of our videos.